Over the last decade or so, we've witnessed one of the most intense rivalries in NBA history, the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. From the get-go, these teams hated each other. Both were extremely physical and constantly threw shots at each other. The intensity carried into the 2020s, giving us some truly iconic moments. In today's video, we're going to revisit this rivalry and break down every single trash-talking incident. A lot of you enjoyed the Golden State versus Cleveland video, so I had to do Boston versus Miami next. With a mix of lip reading, live audio, and interviews, you will finally know what these players really said. If there's any other rivalry you want me to cover next, feel free to let me know in the comments. Now without further ado, let's get into it. It all started in the 2010 playoffs when the third-seeded Boston Celtics faced off against the sixth-seeded Miami Heat. This was just a first-round matchup, but things got heated real quick. With 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Paul Pierce hurt his right shoulder. The shot clock had just expired, so Quentin Richardson was trying to get the ball. However, Kevin Garnett didn't like how Richardson approached him and threw an elbow. A shoving match broke out and Garnett threw another vicious elbow. Players had to be separated and it was just a whole mess. During the post-game interview, Richardson called Garnett and Pierce fake tough.
Nobody got no business talking to him. He on the ground crying. I don't know what was going on. Two actresses over there, that's what they are. I just be surprised at people's actions when I know them better than that. When they not those characters that they portray in this movie, they not who they say they are. Garnett and Pierce, they good basketball players, but nothing other than that. I don't like them, and they know it.
Why?
I just don't.
You can tell there was some serious beef between these teams, but Boston took care of business. They won the next two games and took a 3-0 lead. In fact, Paul Pierce hit a game winner in game 3. After the shot, he said this. Pierce knew it was over for Miami and Boston won the series in 5 games. They faced off the Cavaliers in the second round with questions surrounding LeBron's free agency. That ended up affecting his play as he had a really inefficient series. The Celtics won in 6 games and it was time for LeBron to make his decision. Many expected him to sign with either New York or Chicago. On July 8, 2010, LeBron shocked the world on national television.
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
This became a really controversial signing as LeBron also joined Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Many believe this was the start of the player empowerment era. Kevin Garnett wasn't surprised at all since he said Boston broke LeBron.
We broke LeBron.
In game 5.
So get your ass out of here with that, all right? You understand how you got the Cleveland, how you got the Miami bill? You remember
That's
that?
true. You broke him in
Okay,
2010.
so remember that, all right?
Fair
so
enough.
Stop bringing that up, all right?
Fair enough.
So they was talking shit to him, okay? The media and the league knew that they had an agenda in which we wasn't part of the agenda.
It also didn't help that LeBron made this infamous comment.
Came down here to win championships. Not one, championships.
Not two.
LeBron, tell us about that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. And when I say that, I really believe it.
That only fueled the rivalry between Miami and Boston, who battled relentlessly throughout the regular season. On April 10, 2011, Jermaine O'Neal committed a hard foul on LeBron. This resulted in an altercation, with LeBron saying, "That's bullshit. Come on, man." While that was going on, Pierce pushed Wade away from the altercation. Wade didn't like that and said, "Don't push me." A shoving match began between the two and technical fouls were called. After players were separated, Udonis Haslem had some words for Paul Pierce. If you guys didn't know, Haslem and Pierce shared a history. Out of everyone involved in the rivalry, these two hated each other the most.
Me and KG cool. Paul, we're going to have to figure that out. I just come from a place where you just can't say what you want to say to people. There come consequences with that. It's competition, but ain't got to be no hoe-ass, bitch-ass niggas and all that. We ain't doing, who you talking to?
This only fueled the rivalry between both teams, with their first playoff matchup occurring that postseason. They faced off in the second round and it was on site. In Game 1, Paul Pierce exchanged words with James Jones. This came after a normal foul, but Pierce wasn't having it. He said, "You better watch that shit, bitch." He also headbutted Jones, resulting in technical fouls. However, Pierce wasn't done. Just 2 minutes later, he exchanged words with Wade after a hard screen. The refs decided to kick Pierce out of the game, and he couldn't believe it. He said, "That's bullshit." Doc Rivers was also pissed off and told the ref, "That's horrible." Mind you, it was only a 13-point game with 7 minutes left. Basketball is a game of runs, and ejecting Pierce was detrimental to Boston. Miami ended up winning Game 1. Game 2 was also close, but LeBron took over in the fourth quarter. He scored 10 points in that time span, along with 33 total points. Nobody could stop him, and Garnett even tried to distract him at the free throw line. LeBron actually didn't forget this, as in the following possession, he blocked Garnett. This sealed an 11-point victory for Miami. Now, Game 3 was the most controversial game of the series. To start, the physicality was at another level. It started with Jermaine O'Neal committing another hard foul on LeBron. Pierce clearly loved the foul, as they were both smiling about it. On the other hand, LeBron wanted a review, but the refs called it a common foul. Then with 7 minutes left in the third quarter, Dwayne Wade got tangled up with Rajon Rondo. As you see, Rondo actually dislocated his elbow, and it caused some controversy. Many people believe that Wade purposely tripped him, and he was labeled as a dirty player. Somehow, Rondo was able to return to the game. They popped his elbow back up, and he had one of his most memorable moments. Rondo contributed on both sides of the floor and led Boston to a 16-point victory. Still, the physicality didn't stop there. For the third time this year, Jermaine O'Neal committed another hard foul on LeBron. This time, he smacked his headband out of his head, with LeBron still making the shot. The play was deemed as a common foul, but there was clearly something between these two. Anyways, Miami won the series in 5 games and advanced to the conference finals. Ultimately, they played Dallas in the NBA Finals, but lost in 6 games. This was considered one of the biggest blunders in NBA history. Therefore, Boston had all the confidence in the world in 2012.
We didn't give a fuck about LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron, and we didn't think that he can beat all 5 of us.
This time, they faced off in the conference finals, and things got intense. In Game 1, LeBron James was off to a great start. He had 21 points in the first half, with most of them scored on Paul Pierce. However, Garnett still believed in his teammate and said this. Still, Pierce struggled in the second half and shot 5 for 18 from the field. Miami had all the momentum and went on a crazy run. In the process, LeBron decided to taunt Garnett after his 5th foul. This right here perfectly summarizes Miami LeBron, and all Garnett could do is walk away. Miami ended up winning by 14 points. Moving on, Game 2 was also heated. With 9:50 left in the second quarter, Mario Chalmers got fouled by Keyon Dooling. Chalmers didn't like the contact, so he threw the ball at him. Then, while Udonis Haslem was getting ready to shoot, Chalmers and Dooling were swinging at each other. Chalmers even tried to elbow him, and they kept exchanging words on the way back. After Chalmers hit a 3 on Dooling, he said this. Chalmers received a technical foul, and they clearly didn't like each other. Now, the game was close the entire way, and it even went into overtime. The Heat were up 2 with a minute left, and Wade had the ball. He split the double team and converted a tough and one layup. Right after, he stared down Garnett before heading to the free throw line. Like I said earlier, it was on site between these two teams, and Miami won by 4. Now, when it came to Game 3, there wasn't much trash talk. Besides Garnett doing push-ups after a hard foul, it was a pretty straightforward game. Boston won by 10 and still had a chance in the series. However, Game 4 was extremely physical. It started with Rajon Rondo kicking Shane Battier after a foul was called. This was a build-up as Rondo was tired of the Heat players complaining. During the halftime interview, he said this.
What holes are you guys exploiting in this defense?
Them complaining and crying to referees in transition.
Kevin Garnett seemed to agree with Rondo, as in the third quarter, he said this to LeBron. Garnett really meant what he said, and the Celtics kept playing physical. Rondo fouled Wade hard in transition just to give him a taste of his own medicine. Regardless, Miami wasn't going away, and the game went down to the final shot. Wade had a great look but missed a crucial jumper to win the game. The series was now tied 2-2 heading into Miami. LeBron started the game off strong with a block on Pierce. He also stared him down, but it will end up backfiring. With a minute left, Boston was up 1. This was a critical possession, and Pierce decided to call a switch on LeBron. He took him one-on-one before making a clutch 3 in his face. On his way back, Pierce said, "I'm cold-blooded." You can even hear some of it.
Not a lot going on in that possession.
Miami wasn't able to execute and lost a critical game at home. Boston was now heading to their place up 3-2. All odds were against Miami, but that's when LeBron stepped up. In arguably the most important game of his career, LeBron scored 45 points. Nobody could contain him, and he even gave us this infamous look. The Heat will force a Game 7, and on his way to the locker room, a fan threw a beer at LeBron. He was already motivated, but this was the icing on the cake. In Game 7, LeBron had another great performance with 31 points. Boston kept it close, but Miami took control in the fourth quarter. Seconds before the shot clock expired, Rajon Rondo and Kevin Garnett went to the locker room. They didn't shake hands with Miami, and it was officially the end of an era. LeBron showed love to Doc Rivers and said this. Even Paul Pierce took some time to greet LeBron despite this intense rivalry. On the other hand, Ray Allen seemed to be more happy than expected. He said congrats to Udonis Haslem and talked to Heat players for a while. This is when the rivalry takes a complete shift. Many reports came out that there was tension within the Celtics locker room. Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo didn't get along, and Allen felt disrespected in many ways. He lost his starting spot to Avery Bradley and thought it was time for change. In the 2012 offseason, Allen decided to join the Miami Heat and sign for the mid-level exception. In other words, he turned down more money from Boston to join the rival. This was a very controversial move, and it didn't sit well with Pierce and Garnett. They felt betrayed, and to make things worse, Ray Allen was already looking for houses in Miami during the playoffs.
I heard that he was already looking for houses during the middle of the series while we're in Miami, while we're trying to beat them to go to the championship. I did hear that. You go to the team that we're trying to beat and you don't even tell us or warn us or give us a phone call, and you just jump ship without even like no goodbyes, no hugs or nothing. That did feel like a betrayal. You know what I'm saying? That's almost like your girl going to your best friend. And then, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That ain't cool. That wasn't cool. At least give me a proper break off.
I can definitely see where Pierce is coming from, and Garnett was also pissed.
Is it tougher though, Kevin, to keep the personal feelings out of it when you have to do the battles?
Absolutely. I don't have Ray's number anymore, so I'm not trying to communicate.
Garnett definitely hated Allen for his decision, setting the stage for October 30th, 2012. Not only was this the ring ceremony for Miami, but it was also Ray Allen's first game with the team. Before the game, he approached the Celtics bench, but Garnett ignored him. Allen went on to score 19 points, but there was also another big headline. With 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Rondo intentionally fouled Wade. He grabbed him by the neck, resulting in a flagrant foul. This was pretty much his get back from the 2011 playoffs, so there was some clear intent. After the game, Rondo was asked about this incident.
Were you trying to foul him hard and he just got away from you a little bit? How would you describe your part of it?
I mean, I don't think it was a hard foul. I mean, you know, he sold it a little bit. Simple as that. I didn't yank him down. Or dirty plays that you've seen him play in the past, so that's what it is.
These two definitely couldn't stand each other, and it's funny that they actually teamed up in 2017. Regardless, Miami went on to win the 2013 NBA Finals. In that series, Ray Allen hit one of the clutchest shots in NBA history. Now, here's when the shatter picks up again. As we all know, the Celtics infamously traded Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to the Nets for basically their entire future. Boston preferred a different direction, but LeBron didn't see it that way. Prior to a preseason game, LeBron called out Garnett and Pierce. Quote, I think the first thing I thought was, wow, Ray got killed for leaving Boston and now these guys are leaving Boston. I think it's okay, I didn't mind it, but there were a couple of guys who basically on Ray for leaving and now they're leaving. Garnett was asked about LeBron's comments and clapped back, quote, tell LeBron to worry about Miami. It has nothing to do with Celtic business. On the other hand, Paul Pierce didn't give much attention to it. In a sarcastic voice, he said, I left Boston, basically implying that he never intended to leave and that he just got traded. At the end, Miami played Brooklyn in the playoffs. LeBron absolutely destroyed Paul Pierce and Miami won in 5 games. Now, in terms of the Boston-Miami rivalry, it was pretty much dead until 2020. 2 completely different rosters, but with the intensity still being there. This time, Miami was led by Jimmy Butler, while Boston leaned on Jason Tatum. Unfortunately, their playoff matchup occurred in the bubble, so there wasn't as much noise from the crowd. Still, there were some memorable moments. In Game 1, Bam Adebayo got this infamous block on Jason Tatum. Iguodala's reaction says it all, but the real tension didn't begin until Game 3. With 6:50 left in the third quarter, Jaylen Brown and Jay Crowder got tangled up. Brown basically bumped into him, which led to a confrontation. At first, Brown simply said, my bad, but then he said, in other words, Brown thought Crowder overreacted and there was no reason to act tough. However, this wasn't the only incident with Brown. He was playing extremely physical against Duncan Robinson.
And I think on that,
as you saw, Robinson believed Brown was in his landing space, but nothing was called. Then, when Brown got the ball, he elbowed Robinson in the face. This time, the refs saw clear contact and actually issued a flagrant foul 1. Still, Brown kept going at Miami. After making a 3 in Game 5, he blew a kiss towards their bench. Brown definitely tried to keep this rivalry alive, but things didn't end well for Boston. Miami ended up winning in 6 games, advancing to the NBA Finals. Now, these teams wouldn't face off until the 2022 playoffs. They played in the Eastern Conference Finals, and with the crowd returning, it felt like a real rivalry. Game 4 gave us the first taste of trash talk. Heading into this matchup, Miami was up 2-1 in the series. It was a must-win game for Boston and they responded. Tatum led the way with 31 points and they maintained a comfortable lead. However, in the fourth quarter, words were exchanged. While battling for position, Dwayne Dedmon pushed Jaylen Brown away from him. Brown thought it was a dirty play, so he confronted Dedmon. He said, "Watch that shit. I don't give a f." Basically, he didn't want to hear any of what Dedmon was saying. Both players received technical fouls as a result. Boston also won Game 5, but Miami responded in Game 6. All odds were against them, but Butler showed out with 47 points. Everyone, including Draymond Green, thought Boston was going to make the finals that same night.
Still undetermined who you're going to play in the next round? Who would you like to play?
You're asking me who I want to play. I'm going to tell you who I think we're going to play. We're going to play Boston.
Okay,
that's who we're going to play.
Thank you.
Udonis Haslem, who was a big locker room presence for Miami, responded to Draymond's comments after the buzzer. Haslem really believed in his team and they fought hard in Game 7. The game was neck to neck, but Butler missed the game-winning shot. Boston won the series, meaning that Draymond was right in his interview. Maybe he didn't predict the right date, but Boston still became their opponents. Now, given how close this series was, they matched up again in 2023. Just like in 2022, they played in the Eastern Conference Finals. However, this series was way more intense. Miami took Game 1, but Game 2 was when the trash talk began. It started with Grant Williams getting tangled up with Kyle Lowry. Nothing escalated after this, but Williams made a huge mistake. In the fourth quarter, he decided to trash talk Jimmy Butler. He was all hyped up after a 3 and Butler responded on the other end. He scored a tough bucket and yelled, "And one." Williams replied, "I don't give a f." Yeah. Clearly, Williams was talking to the wrong person since Butler couldn't miss after this. He did the too small gesture to Williams, shook his head after scoring many times, and also told everyone that he cannot guard him. Miami went on a 24-9 run and also took Game 2. After the buzzer, Butler had this to say.
I thought he was dancing. Come on. That's your answer to the problem. That's the answer. That's the answer to the problem.
Not only that, but during the post-game interview, Butler had more words.
Can you tell us what happened in the moment there, and did it fuel you down the stretch?
Yes, it did. Started talking to me. I like that. I'm all for that. I just don't know if I'm the best person to talk to.
So Jimmy Grant wasn't the answer, was he, to the Jimmy Butler problem?
He wasn't.
Grant Williams was not able to recover from this, as in Game 3, Butler kept taunting him. He even posted this picture on Instagram after the game. Williams basically became a joke, but Butler wasn't done. He also decided to troll Al Horford. To give some backstory, Horford made a timeout gesture towards Jimmy Butler after a 3. This occurred in Game 1, but Butler kept the receipts. After Gabe Vincent gave Miami a 23-point lead, Butler got his revenge. For some reason, Horford was salty even though he started all of this. Also, Marcus Smart had some words for Butler. Butler didn't entertain any of that talk and simply said, "They are buns." Miami ended up taking a 3-0 lead as they won by 20. However, Boston still had hope.
Feel good about tonight?
Feel very good about tonight. Don't let us get one.
I'm sorry.
No, just don't let us get one. So don't let us get
Kevin
this
Millar?
one. There you go. You know, things can change tonight, so don't let us get one.
In other words, they thought this series was far from over, and well, they actually kept their word. Boston took the next 2 games and were down 3-2 heading into Miami. Now here's when things get heated. While boxing out, Kyle Lowry locked Jaylen Brown's wrist against his body and spun. This could have been a serious injury, and Brown didn't hold back. Lowry tried to explain his side, but Brown said, "Watch that watch that Looking back at the replay, this definitely wasn't a normal basketball play. Still, Boston somehow took Game 6 as Derek White got a miraculous putback. There was a Game 7, but Butler still believed in his team.
You know, everybody's smiling because we know we're very capable of it, I'm telling you, and we're not going to let up. I'm not going to let anybody quit. I'm not going to let our guys quit. I don't give a damn what happens. We're going to go in there and we're going to win.
Now, Butler actually kept his promise and Miami won a critical Game 7. They made the NBA Finals and Butler had his eyes on the prize. After Bam tried to share the trophy with him, Butler said, "I'll hold the next one." Basically, the championship trophy. Unfortunately, Miami lost to Denver in 5 games, so Butler never got to hold the next one. Still, these two teams hated each other. There wasn't any remorse and it showed in the regular season. In a February matchup, Jaylen Brown and Duncan Robinson got into it. While fighting for position, their arms got locked up. Brown thought Robinson was overdoing it, so he pushed him away. This was a dangerous play as Robinson could have dislocated his shoulder. Robinson stood up for himself and said, "What the was that? Don't do that out of here." Brown thought Robinson was already holding on to him and told the refs to review the initial contact. Robinson wasn't buying any of that and Brown replied, "What are you gonna do about it?" Both players had to be separated as tempers started boiling over. Remember, these two had a history in the NBA bubble. Robinson thought Brown was a dirty player and explained his side in the post-game interview.
But yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a dirty play, to be honest with you. You know, that's how people miss entire seasons. Just thought it was dangerous, unnecessary, and excessive.
Brown didn't see it that way and called out Robinson.
I think he knew exactly what he was trying to do, trying to get tangled up, etc., because he didn't want to play defense. And Miami's known for getting away with a lot of that stuff, kind of mucking up the game. And I feel like Duncan Robinson knew what he was doing there. I bet you he won't do it again.
Like I said, these two clearly hated each other, and these teams will face off again in the 2024 playoffs. This time Miami didn't have Jimmy Butler. He suffered a sprained MCL against Philadelphia and was ruled out for the first round. Boston dominated in game 1, but there was an altercation near the end. As Bam Adebayo was attempting a jumper, Drew Holiday slightly pushed Caleb Martin. This messed up his balance and Martin ran straight into Tatum. He tried to help him up, but Brown intervened. He pushed Martin and they had to be separated. Brown said, "Watch that. You better watch that." Martin replied, "You're not like that. You're not like that." Martin received a lot of backlash from the Celtics fan base. Despite Holiday making initial contact, everyone believed this was a dirty play. Martin had this to say about the incident.
I don't feel the need to try to take out guys in order to beat, in order to beat somebody. That's just not who I am. This is the playoffs. Hard fouls happen all the time. And, if the roles are switched, I don't think anybody would have been calling it a code red. So.
With that in mind, the stage was set for Game 2. Everyone expected Boston to blow out Miami, but it was the other way around. Without Jimmy Butler, Miami came into Boston and took Game 2. This was a huge victory and Butler was pumped. He posted this picture after the game, caption, "Feeling cute, might delete later. Psych, I ain't deleting shit." Butler was fully confident in his team, but Miami would end up losing in 5 games. Then a few days later, Butler pretty much said that Boston got lucky that he wasn't playing.
1, 2, 3, action. If I was playing, Boston would be at home. New York, damn sure would be fucking at home. Y'all talk. What that mean to me?
At hindsight, this may look like another classic trolling video, but Pat Riley had enough. During his exit interview, he called out Butler.
For him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut.
This moment created tension between Butler and the front office. Riley didn't think Butler was as committed and refused to give him an extension. That led to another side of drama where Butler got suspended several times. Ultimately, both sides moved on in the trade deadline and Butler joined the Golden State Warriors. That marked the end of a complicated era in Miami filled with intense battles against Boston. Hopefully we can see this rivalry pick up again and see the new guys going at it. And that pretty much concludes the video. What do you guys think of this rivalry? Which heated moment was your favorite? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I hope everyone has a great day. Peace out.